What is going on, everybody? It is episode 763 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here once again with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. We are still kind of the only people here while everyone is in D.C.
Yep.
It's kind of quiet, but I know you like that.
Oh, yeah. Outside of the crappy weather on Monday, trying to get in a little bit, it was very, very quiet and peaceful out when the day started that day.
But it really just helps you save gas if you can just slide on the ice the entire way here.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
That's
or
a
just
little known life hack.
have somebody tow you with ice skates on would also be good.
That's common practice in Minnesota.
Oh yeah, well you've seen it's like still snowing in Florida. Like the beaches
it's going
are frozen.
further south.
Yep.
Apparently, I'm kind of shocked because we're good here, and then people in Florida are getting snowed in.
Which is funny because my dad just went back to Florida.
Oh,
I don't think it's
poor
I feel
timing.
I feel like he would have said something if it was snowing where he was because I talked to him the other day. And he didn't say, "Oh my gosh, it's a snowstorm." So they must be fine where he is.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. So, but I do have friends who have seen they have pictures of like the beaches with ice on them and stuff like that. That must be rough. That must be rough. Guys, we got a bunch of stuff to get into today, but before we get started, would you please, as always, hit the like button on this video. I don't care if this show just started. Hit the like button anyways. You're going to love it. Trust me. And subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed here yet already. Please remember that the best way to help shows like this grow is to share the videos and the live streams out with your friends, your family, your loved ones, people you like, people that you don't like, a mortal enemy perhaps. If you have them, that would be the best person to share it out with. You should bridge the gap with people that you don't like by sharing our content. It is the best way to help us grow. So we got a bunch of stuff to get into today. First things first, look, I guess it is the biggest celebrity feud case since the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp case, which is Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively are still going back and forth. Their lawyers are just cha-ching, raking in a fortune right now as these two fight. I mean, I'm sure they are. I'm sure the lawyers are making.
Is it really the biggest celebrity feud since
Can you think
Amber
of
Heard and Johnny Depp?
Can you think of another one?
If anyone would know, it would be us.
Yeah, I can't think of one that's
This is what
bigger.
we do for a living, but I can't think of one.
It's the biggest I could think of. I guess because we love Colonel Kurtz on this channel. She's a friend of the channel. She covers this stuff. This seems to be the biggest case that she's covered, along with the Marilyn Manson stuff. But that's a little different.
I like that this feud is more lighthearted even than the Amber Heard Johnny Depp one. Because there's no sexual stuff. There's the allegation of sexual misconduct, but there's no relationship that ever existed between them.
Correct.
There's no allegation of violence. So it's not like something that we need to act super serious about. We can just
That's the hardest part with all of the Me Too cases is like you have to take it with a grain of salt because you don't have any outside of like video evidence. You then have to be careful of your tone and how you talk about it. And this one we're like, look at these idiots. They're rich, vapid celebrities and they're fighting. It's funny.
I'm like looking at this leaked footage. That's what we're covering today. There's leaked footage from the set of It Ends With Us. There's this part of the leaked footage where he's like smelling her. Like it's so unserious. And her lawyers are doubling down on the narrative. It's crazy.
Guitarist Gabe says, "What about Drake and Kendrick?" That's, I guess, kind of.
Oh, definitely.
But I don't think of that. They're not like they weren't buddy on the set of something or in a relationship with.
Well, they were never even friends, were they?
So,
they always hated each other.
So though the amount of AI crying baby Drake videos that I've seen because of that has been absolutely hilarious. No, Kendrick, don't do that. I don't like it.
It's Aubrey Graham.
Yeah. So, guys, we're going to talk more about that case. Justin Baldoni leaked footage from the movie, like raw footage from the movie. Not that kind of raw, just raw clips from the movie to disprove her claims about sexual harassment. It's a whole back and forth. It is kind of unprecedented to see, raw daily footage like this just leaked to the public. So we're going to talk about that. We are also going to talk about whether Sabrina Carpenter is in fact too sexual to play Rapunzel?
Rapunzel.
Yes.
Yeah, Disney is working on casting for a live action Tangled movie, and Sabrina Carpenter is rumored to be one of the leads to play Rapunzel, and some people have opinions.
Yeah.
Definitely.
McKenna Grace shall weep.
she's too sexy to play Rapunzel. So we're going to debate about that.
Right, so we're going to talk about that. Also, guys, Meghan Markle is back in the news because there are rumors, I will stress that word, rumors going around that it is in fact possible that her brand new Netflix show, With Love, Meghan, is about to be canceled. And I don't know whether that's true, but it doesn't matter because everybody loves to dunk on Meghan Markle.
But there's more. There's a bunch of juicy details from this Vanity Fair report that came out about Harry and Meghan recently, and their relationship dynamic is just not healthy. So we're going to be going through the takeaways from that as well.
All right. So if you're ready, we can just go ahead and get started.
Yeah, let's go.
All right.
So I don't know if any of you are familiar with Miss Rachel. I know we have some parents in the audience, but Miss Rachel is an extremely famous child entertainer. She mostly has been on YouTube, and now she has just landed a giant deal with Netflix. So I guess the parents aren't going to have to skip ads anymore unless they're on the ad tier of Netflix. This is interesting to me because it shows that the conservative boycott of Miss Rachel ultimately failed. It ultimately
works
died on the vine.
Sometimes, doesn't work all the time.
It worked in the case of Bud Light, for sure, but a lot of other examples didn't work at all, and now she is soaring to success. And if you're confused about why she was boycotted in the first place, it's because although most of Miss Rachel's content is, you know, teaching kids to read and express their emotions and coloring, some of it is sprinkled in there with social messaging.
So she had Dylan Mulvaney on, right?
She had a co-host who identified as non-binary who was not Dylan Mulvaney.
Okay.
As far as I remember, there was a different co-host on her channel.
No, I know about that.
That went by they, them pronouns. That was part of the controversy as well. Her post back in 2024 about Pride Month really angered a lot of conservative parents who let their kids watch her content. And when she started getting backlash, she decided to clap back. And I want to show her video from that time period when she responded to the haters.
This one from Netflix?
From
or the Matt Walsh one?
I think Matt Walsh posted it at the time.
Here we go.
Happy Pride to all of our wonderful families and friends. This month and every month I celebrate you. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're exactly who you are. To those who are going to comment they can't watch the show anymore because of the support, no worries and much love your way. God bless. I am not chasing fame or views. I'm standing strong in love.
Okay.
I know she's a kid's entertainer, so she has to put on a kind of voice.
The voice.
But the baby voice really creeps me out. This is a 42-year-old woman.
I mean, it's one of those things where if you were watching it on television, you wouldn't notice it because you'd be kind of conditioned into the content. Yeah. And it wouldn't seem weird.
Yeah,
right?
but she's a YouTuber, so it feels different. It feels like this is her, not a character. And she is so successful, she's been compared to Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
Like the Mr. Rogers for Gen Alpha, basically, is who we're talking about. So she keeps most of her content educational and wholesome, but sprinkles things in like this to talk about pride and identity issues and gender with children who, you know, I'm assuming their parents aren't aware that this is part of the content.
Yeah.
So at the time, this was a huge controversy. She ended up taking a mental health break after the outrage back in 2023. And that was when her co-star, this non-binary co-host, Jules Hoffman, asked to be referred to with pronouns they and them on her show. Jules Hoffman identifies as transgender and non-binary, which is confusing because I thought that you were just defying the binary.
Yeah,
but
my brain doesn't work that way. I'm sorry.
And then there were other controversies about her making subtle political statements by posting fundraisers for Gaza. But, you know, she's angered a significant portion of people who used to be in her audience and now is reaching new levels of success despite that.
Okay, so we got this video from Netflix.
Yeah, this was their announcement of her deal.
Figure out what our letter of the day is. Soon, you can also watch Miss Rachel on Netflix. More ways to watch. Let's let's figure out.
Okay.
The screenshots on that video
Yeah.
are not going to treat her kindly. So that was the Netflix logo, just the N,
Yeah.
if you were listening rather than watching. But yeah, most of the comments were basically saying, if anyone deserves this bag, it's you, Rachel. Go, Rachel.
Yeah.
So she's winning. She's unequivocally winning in this battle.
I mean, this type of content is some of the biggest moneymakers for any of these streaming services. Whether it's this, whether it's Coco Melon, there's a lot of money to be made in sticking the kids in front of the television and leaving them with something. So I'm not surprised that the boycott didn't work.
If you have the higher tier of Netflix, you don't even have to come into the room to skip the ads for your kids. Just sit them in front of the TV and forget.
Like, look, I don't know what the shopping market, how the shopping market broke down gender-wise for Bud Light, but this type of boycott based around gender ideology is not going to be as effective for women as it would be for men. And I'm sure it's the moms that are putting their kids in front of the TV to watch this content. So I'm not surprised that this one didn't work.
Yeah, it's mostly moms making the decisions about the entertainment that their kids are exposed to.
Yeah. And look, that's changing a little bit as time goes on. Certainly there's more of a backlash than I would have expected in the past now that people know that this stuff is going on. But not everything is an article in Breitbart, and it doesn't always work that way. A lot of parents aren't paying super close attention to this stuff, or they don't see, where it might be a problem for them, depending on who you are, depending on what you believe. But it doesn't really hurt Netflix really at all. And the crazy thing about this is, guys, is Netflix just posted their biggest subscriber growth per quarter ever at 19 million new subscribers between the last 2 quarters, and another price hike going on over there as everything bumps up. And the reason why that when they advertise this, when they talk about why, because every time a price hike goes on, somebody has to come out, some poor employee has to come out like, this is why we're doing it. And the point and what they say is that we want to continue to reinvest into new content for you, the viewer. And to do that, to pay people like Miss Rachel, they have to raise the price on everything. And it looks like, look, your premium package just went from 22 to 24, or from 23 to 25. Your standard package from $15.49 to $18. Ad tier went from 7 to 8. No shock there. It's I posted about this yesterday on X, and it's crazy. So, if you're the type of person who's got kids and you don't want them watching content like Miss Rachel, that's not hard to believe with Netflix, given the fact that anytime I post about Netflix, and I do pretty regularly point out that Netflix is the king of the castle when it comes to the streaming services, they kind of really do leave all of these other streamers in the dust. And most of the time, the people that don't like Netflix, they give me, it's not usually the price that they mention, though that can happen. It's cuties. They say after cuties, I never went back and I never watched anything from Netflix again, which I completely understand.
Yeah. And I totally respect that decision. I myself don't have Netflix, but it's not because of any kind of moral stance. It's just because I don't think it's worth the money.
It's a lot of money.
I can't
It's
believe
the most expensive of all the streaming services by far, I think, other than maybe HBO Max.
It's also the most popular, but I just find it so hard to believe that there are people paying $25 a month for Netflix Premium. What does that give you?
I mean, that's amount of TVs that can be watched on Ultra 4K HD. I think I had the middle package when I had it. I think I had the middle package.
Because you hate ads.
Well, yeah, I'm not having the ad tier. Okay, actually, no. I have a rule when it comes to ads, which is if I've seen it before without ads, I will not go back and rewatch it with ads. If it's something I've never seen before, I will stomach it with ads.
Okay. That's
fair enough, because it's like you can't go back, right? There's a lot of shows where I'm like, I used to watch this show unencumbered. I can't tell you how I gained access to that show back in the day. But the point being that, you watched it without ads.
We're far away from the time in this country when you could pay, $7 a month for Netflix, not watch ads in like the tail end of the Obama administration and watch Stranger Things.
And to be fair, guys, the thing is Netflix doesn't want you buying the premium package. They want you getting the ad tier. They want to be able to dump a bunch of ads in front of you because that's the real revenue growth for them.
Yeah, they said, as we continue to invest in programming and deliver more value for our members, we occasionally ask our members to pay a little more so that we can reinvest to further improve Netflix. They have the perfect out.
It's a community service you're doing.
So you're going to be paying more so they can fund the insane budgets for their original shows.
Well, it's not just that. Now they've made their foray into live TV with the NFL. With now you have to, if you want to watch Monday Night Raw, you're gonna have to watch it on Netflix. They had Paul Tyson and all that stuff. Did you see them at the inauguration together?
Really?
Yeah.
I saw that Logan Paul and Jake Paul were there. I didn't see that Mike Tyson was.
It might have been at like an event before the.
I saw this terrible.
But he was on Jake Paul was on Mike Tyson's shoulders.
Really?
Yeah.
He was. Logan and Jake were sitting with Theo Vaughn at the inauguration ceremony, and they messed with his chair to make it break in the middle of the speech.
Yep.
That's just such childish
I mean, was
behavior.
that proven? Was that proven that they did that on purpose?
Theo Vaughn said it. He told everyone, like, I
think it's a work.
He literally said, I'm not joking. They messed with my chair to make it break when I sat on it. It was, yeah, and he said it was childish and that he didn't appreciate it.
Well, to be fair, those guys, the Paul brothers and Theo Vaughn, are all kind of listed as some of the big reasons that Trump got elected. So I suppose
Theo Vaughn is getting a lot of hate right now too because of
his
showing up at the inauguration.
Really?
A lot of his fans perceive him as being very tolerant and liberal. So
well, he's kind of just a middle of the road. Like, he's so weird, it's hard to place him in a box anyways. I actually read his Instagram story posts. He did like Instagram story posts that were like a breakdown of how he felt about the event. And the first thing he listed was my thoughts on the inauguration. And the first thought was, we need more than 2 parties. And the dessert sucked, 0 out of 7. That's what he said.
I mean, yeah, he's relatively.
And he said that he walked back to his hotel with Lex Friedman, so that sucks to be him.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Doesn't that sound awful?
Yeah.
So
Lex Friedman could never make it on this past weekend.
I've never. Dingus Khan says Prime drinks suck. I've never had Prime. I've never actually drank Prime. I see it all the time.
You love energy drinks. You should try it. Give us a review.
I drink the Ghost energy drinks every once in a while. I've never drank Prime. But yeah, look, I never thought that boycott was going to hold. But most of the time, me and Mary are pretty anti-boycott anyways. But that's.
Are we boycotting boycotts, or do we just think that they're usually stupid?
I mean, I just
pointless?
don't care. I guess it's not a boycott. I just don't care. I just don't feel like. I guess they do work. There are examples of it working. The Bud Light one being the best example.
Vast majority of the time, though, they don't work.
Yeah.
Liberals don't have to boycott anything, really.
No.
Do they?
They have endless selection for stuff.
Right. So when conservatives boycott things,
people are boycotting Snoop Dogg right now. I'm sure that's killing a lot of people's playlists when
Totally
they can't listen to the Dogfather.
But like when conservatives boycott things, it feels like we all have such a short attention span that it doesn't last, it doesn't make an impact, and it was never a wholehearted response in the first place.
Maybe that's just our short attention spans.
I didn't stop shopping at Target. I'm gonna be real. Like after the tucking swimsuit scandal, I did not stop shopping at Target.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a bad person, but I just don't have the bandwidth.
Yep. All right, let's move on.
Yeah. For the brief window of time that avid TikTokers thought they were going to lose their precious doom scrolling app, they were experiencing a lot of emotional distress, but it goes further than that. They're experiencing a physical condition of TikTok withdrawal symptoms. And now they have experts and doctors, lab coats, warning against the serious response that your body could have. Your nervous system can be shot by the withdrawal of TikTok content.
You got any of that TikTok, man?
Yeah, it's really kind of. I'm disappointed, honestly. I'm disappointed that it's looking more and more like TikTok is going to relaunch for U.S. users. There will be a U.S. company buying it out, and they're going to keep their precious app. Yeah. I was hoping that this could be a huge moment for people to finally put down their phones and stop bed rotting.
I mean, that would be nice, but I didn't think that was gonna. I mean, I thought they would just migrate somewhere else and something else would take over.
Well, they all hate Instagram Reels. They hate it.
Why? Which is funny because Instagram right now, Meta's like, we'll give you $50,000 to post on Reels first.
Yeah, they're trying to incentivize people to use Instagram Reels as the alternative, but the people who were using TikTok on a daily basis for hours a day hate the alternatives.
Yeah. They've
gone to Red Note, which was a short-lived meme, but they hate Instagram Reels because it's corny and they think that it's more like boomer coded or like millennial. Yeah, they think it's like millennial coded. It's delayed. It is very
millennial coded.
The meme cycle stays like 2 weeks behind where it usually is on Instagram Reels. So they really don't want to use an alternative. They want the good. TikTok junkies are in for a painful biology lesson. The controversial app's imminent removal could spark serious physical and psychological withdrawal among serial scrollers, doctors told the New York Post. The Stanford psychiatrist Dr. Anna Lemke said the universal symptoms of TikTok withdrawal are the same as any addictive substance: extreme anxiety, irritability, insomnia, depression, and cravings. If people who are addicted to TikTok stop using it abruptly, they may experience any or all of these symptoms. She specializes in addiction medicine, but she warned of mood swings, panic attacks, and dysphoria, a profound negative mood that could plague TikTok users after the app's removal. And they say without TikTok as a vice, their levels of dopamine, which is released in the brain when a person does something enjoyable, creating the urge to do it again, will begin to plummet.
And it will happen. Like anytime you post anything, and I don't care what social media platform it is, if you post on X, if you post on Instagram, and suddenly your inbox is filled and your message center, your notifications light up, that hits that part of the brain and it hits it hard. It's not easy to just walk away from that. And the nefarious part is like when you're doing drugs, there's a physical implementation that you kind of tie to that experience. But because your phone is such an extension of your body now, you don't even think of it that way. Think about how many things you do on a daily basis right when you wake up. Like right away. And a good part of the population, they don't wake up and go about their morning routine. They get up and check their phone. They check their messages. They check their social media platforms. And that is a very, very hard habit to break, especially when I was growing up, there was a lot of discussion about, the target market was a big thing. Cigarettes are bad for you. I lived through the part where they finally realized that opiates were going to kill you if you did them for too long, and they started cutting back on your ability to get them, right? There wasn't really mainstream discussion about just how dangerous these platforms could be until very recently.
Well, the vast majority of TikTok users, if I had to guess, are not the ones who post on the platform. They're the ones who just scroll.
No, the ones who post on the platform almost have like a more understandable issue to me, which the ones who are making money doing it, having your entire career upended, which is why so many people talk about how you have to diversify.
Using that as a career, a lot of people use it to promote their businesses.
Yep.
So I understand that.
Absolutely.
But for the most part, these people are sad that they can't scroll anymore. And I don't know if you would agree with this, but I feel like TikTok is the first social media platform that really encouraged normies to start posting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Look, I don't know if what they would go through would be the same thing as like what I went through when I went to rehab and you're throwing up and you can't sleep for 2 weeks and you maybe sleep once every 10 hours for maybe 10 minutes and the rest of the time you're awake and delirious and hallucinating. As I've always said, an experience I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, that feeling. On the edge, pins and needles, can't sit still, every minute feels like 5 hours. It's the worst feeling in the entire world. It's not going to be like that, but you do anything repeatedly for a long period of time and there are going to be consequences when it's just abruptly cut off.
Well, what they're looking for when they scroll TikTok, sadly, is not to laugh.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
What do you mean?
Like, I feel like most of the posts that you see on these platforms are not made to... they're not made to lighten your mood. The posts that you see are related to people oversharing about their relationship drama.
Well, no, it's actually supposed to make you like kind of a zombie in the way you consume it. It's not supposed to. Like when I look at Instagram Reels, and maybe that's just my algorithm, but it is comedy skits that are designed
for me
to make you laugh.
It's mostly memes for me, but most of the time I bet these people were scrolling through like confessions, basically. Like people telling their deepest, darkest secrets to the internet, people crying on camera.
As we talked about.
Yeah, people exposing strangers.
Well, it's kind of like the idea of the slow motion car wreck was something everybody inherently understood, but only saw maybe once in their life.
Right.
Now you get a digital version of the car wreck every day, and you can't look away.
One TikToker complained that her life was falling apart in response to the removal of TikTok. It's really not fair that they're banning TikTok. I know it's dramatic as hell that I'm crying. I know it sounds dramatic to say I don't know what I'm going to do without TikTok.
Was this a
I
creator
really don't know
or
who
a
I'm
consumer?
A consumer, but they were posting about it.
Okay.
But they say, I don't know who I'm going to be without TikTok.
Yeah.
People
what
have
I
wrapped
imagine
their
it would be-
entire identities
I would imagine
inside
that
these platforms.
I would imagine that the come down, the withdrawal of TikTok use would be more akin to, say, coming off of stimulants like speed or cocaine, which is little physical ramifications other than maybe being tired for an extended period of time, but a lot of psychological addiction, meaning like, how am I going to get up and go about my day if I don't have this to like perk me up? It's going to be like, how am I going to go on a date if I can't go on TikTok and look up date ideas? How am I going to get my fill of gossip if I can't go on TikTok and hear somebody complain about the worst first date they ever went on?
I don't think those are even the types of things they're looking for when they open the app. I think that people are worried about how they're going to dissociate.
You mean like watch and not even realize what they're watching?
Yeah, this is the main outlet that millions of Americans have been using to dissociate in their free time for years now.
Yeah.
And when you take that away, I know like it does sound dramatic and it is pathetic, but it really must feel like a physical symptom to have to sit in silence for any extended period of time.
It's not easy to do. I can't do it. Like, that's one of those things. I don't do well with sitting still at all. For me, like on a Saturday, I can't just sit there and do nothing. I have to be out doing something. And usually what ends up happening, if I don't have plans made before to go skate, what it is like, okay, I get up, I don't have plans. Maybe you clean for a bit when you wake up or whatever, you get ready for the day, and then you just sit there on your phone until either it just becomes too much and I've sat still for too long and now my knee is moving up and down and I realize that, oh crap, I have to go do something. But a lot of people don't even necessarily get that impulse because they don't have some type of physical activity that's tied to their identity that they do on a regular basis, right? Like, what if you're not a person who goes and runs, or a person who goes and plays pickup games of basketball or something like that? If you don't have a way for an outlet and you don't have physical activity on a regular basis, you're just going to sit there and not realize that it's affecting your mental health.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous knowing this now because the shutdown is not going to happen. But apparently iPhones that have the TikTok app downloaded went up for sale on eBay for thousands of dollars.
$100 million.
One listing for an iPhone downloaded with the TikTok app went up for $1 million.
I don't think they're going to allow
This is a
that.
joke.
I don't think they're going to allow that sale to go through personally.
And apparently some people even got tattoos to commemorate the death of TikTok.
Well, there were weirdos
To
who
memorialize
got, like,
it on their bodies.
who got like their COVID vaccination tattoos. Remember that?
That's definitely worse than what I just saw. But I see like a tattoo of a gravestone with the TikTok logo on it. You're going to have to get that removed, and that was not a good choice.
Yep.
But Mr. Beast might be to thank for saving it.
He's going to be like,
according to the
I
rumors.
locked 100 TikTok addicts in a room and left one phone.
I would love that. But unfortunately, he's planning to buy TikTok's U.S. assets along with a group of other investors.
He's got to pay off that jaw surgery he got so that he could look smacks.
At least that's what he claims. I don't know if this is going to be real.
You got to see the pictures of Mr. Beast now. He has been mewing hard.
Yeah.
His jawline is completely different.
He confirmed that he had an offer to present to ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok, to purchase their U.S. operations. But looks like on January 21st, the Paul Hastings law firm shared a blog post revealing that they're advising a syndicate of investors in an all-cash offer for TikTok's U.S. assets and various assets from ByteDance. And they included Mr. Beast in the post, but other unnamed institutions and high net worth individuals are involved as well.
It's just a bunch of like Chinese government officials.
Right? Like, there's something fishy about the whole thing.
You don't know what's going on. I just know that if you are suffering from the withdrawal feelings around TikTok, I heavily recommend physical exercise. It is one of the best ways to get your mind off of what's going on in your, on the inside of your own head when you're suffering from stuff like that. And you may find that you end up loving something outside of that. And physical activity is always good for the brain.
Do you feel like you go into a dissociative state when you are skating?
Yes, in a lot of ways. Mine is connected more to, it's really funny. It's very interesting because to me, most of the time when you grow up skating, you're going out with your friends and it's a whole group of people going out at one time. So it's a mixture of both sport and social activity. But as we've all gotten older, not everybody has time to go out with their friends. Everybody's got jobs, they've got kids, they've got stuff going on. So even before COVID was a thing, I was skating alone just because my friends lived in other areas and we just didn't have time to skate outside of maybe on the weekend. So I made a lot of content by myself, and it got to a point where it actually got weird for me to then start skating again with people because I am so ADD. I do have such a hard time concentrating on what I'm doing that when I'm with other people, I lose focus and I'm just socializing rather than actually skating. But for me, there is a zone that you get in when you're doing it that means that you're focused 110% on what you're doing. Now, that's not even the best session necessarily. Sometimes the best session is like a mixture of great physical activity, skating on a regular basis. If you're in a place where you can do it, you can skate a ledge by yourself and there's nobody there to kick you out or bother you. Listen to music, do it in between, looking at your phone and stuff like that. There's a pretty perfect mixture that you can find there, but that's not how social media works.
Is that no phone time for you?
Usually, yeah. I mean, I listen to music while I'm skating, but I'm not, posting. I'm not like looking at.
Would you be
Instagram.
able to do it without music?
Yes.
That would be fine.
I can. I don't like to, but
Yeah.
this is a bone of contention between me and Olivia because I always have it in the right ear, but it's not like it's the only thing I can hear. It's barely loud enough.
Yeah.
I basically live with like a background track going all the time.
You're in the Brett movie.
Yeah. When we were at the holidays, I was gracious enough to be like, "Don't worry, honey, I will leave the headphones at home."
As you should.
So, guys, get some exercise, and if you are addicted to TikTok, there's a lot of things that you can do, but I think getting some exercise would be a great first start.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've all seen by now the infamous clip of Mark Zuckerberg taking a peek at Jeff Bezos' fiance's cleavage at the inauguration ceremony. It was the most human thing I have ever seen Mark Zuckerberg do in his life. So there is a plus. But he's quite shameless about it. He just liked one of Lauren Sanchez's Instagram posts, so he's on his own turf now. Just not even pulling any punches. He liked one of her thirst traps in front of everyone. Likes are publicly viewable, dude.
It's your platform,
We can
bro.
all see that you did that. When Instagram had the following tab? Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. You were able to see who all of your mutuals were liking, commenting,
That got
following.
people in trouble.
I know, it got so many people in trouble. I wish that feature were still around. It would make Instagram a whole lot more interesting. But yeah, Zuck just doesn't seem to know that people can see his likes.
What the hell did he say to his wife?
And then, is this causing strife in Jeff Bezos' relationship?
No, because she's wearing the pants in that relationship.
Definitely. He doesn't have the gumption to
I don't think he does.
Bring it up. No. But yeah, Lauren Sanchez, in case you missed it, wore nothing but a lace bra underneath a blazer to the inauguration ceremony, and this caused a lot of uproar. People were saying this is deeply inappropriate attire for such a serious occasion.
Well, I mean, Theo Vaughn did have his chair malfunction via prank from the Paul Bros. So.
That's childish too.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, those
like,
are the exact types of people who really shouldn't be invited to something serious like that.
I mean, it's more a sign of where things are politically when troublemakers and pranksters are the ones who help you get elected.
I guess you're right. But Lauren Sanchez was obviously there because she was Bezos's +1 and decided to use that as an opportunity to put her boobs on display for the world to see on national television and everything. Her, like, literally just wearing underwear on TV. Yeah. That's just not, that's beyond the pale. Yeah. Would you agree?
I wonder if Jeff is maybe just so, maybe this is what happened. Jeff is just busy, right? He's running a gazillion-dollar company. You know, it's probably like, right? He's probably always on his phone. He's always answering some type of, he's doing something business related. He's making money hand over fist. And at one point he saw it on her and he's like, oh, she's going to put a shirt on over it. And then by the time they were on the way, he looks up from his phone. By the way, for some reason, I'm picturing him doing this on a BlackBerry and not on like like an iPhone. And he's like, honey, why are you wearing a bra under your blazer? She's like, shut the fuck up, Jeff.
No, I like your previous theory that he just still thinks of himself as a nerd, so he's never going to be able to stand up to her.
She's just like, I'll wear whatever the hell I want.
Whitney Cummings was one of the people who roasted Lauren Sanchez for her outfit choice online. I want to show her video saying that the outfit looks cheap, which it does.
Nope. We are not going to hate on this woman, okay? She is a businesswoman, and her decisions have gotten her this far, all right? I respect this woman's judgment, all right? We all wish we had it, let's be honest. But the I don't blame her. I blame white lace. White lace always looks cheap. This is
women just dodging responsibility left and right forever.
Probably $1,000, like Dolce & Gabbana, but we've all done it. We've all bought like a cute white lace bra, and like you take your shirt off, and the guy's like, oh God, it gets sad. It always looks like you've been trafficked for some reason. It never fits. It's just not, I don't know, man. It looks cute in the mirror, then you get a photo. It's just no bueno. It's got big like Bachelor in Paradise meets Love is Blind. And
maybe that's what she was going for.
Gee. Thoughts and prayers.
Backhanded thing ever.
She's with the head of Amazon, and she looked like she got that top on Temu.
Okay.
Bummer.
Yeah.
So that was obviously incredibly backhanded, and she wanted to say what we were all thinking, but had to frame it as a compliment, didn't she? It's incredibly catty. But Lauren Sanchez was actually quite magnanimous in her response. She didn't take it personally. She left a heart emoji in the comments.
And that's the best way to respond. She will go down forever as somebody who can take the joke, and you're always going to be more respected if you don't take yourself too seriously.
I'm sure she's getting a kick out of all of this discourse right now. Another take was from Megyn Kelly. She tweeted, "She has no class, no dignity, and no respect." And then went further to go on a rant about the decision, saying, "No one should be talking about your tits." I agree. It's the inauguration. No one should be talking about Lauren Sanchez's tits.
Okay. All right, here we go.
Jeff Bezos runs the Washington Post, owns it, and owns Amazon, of course. And I will tell you, this is not my first time saying she dresses like a hooker, because she does. And we called out, we had to deal with some Hollywood PR firm. I can't remember who we were trying to get, but we tried to avoid those people, but sometimes you can't. And this PR agent went off on our booker. They're so angry because they represent her or they do some business with her. And she had, talked to them, whatever. It's like those two don't like to be made fun of.
Yep.
He's done a lot to change his look. He looks nothing like he looked 20 years ago. I don't think she's seen.
I mean, that should make you more confident, not more less. That shouldn't make you less self-assured. That should make you more self-assured. You should be okay with being dunked on once you actually get in shape, because your confidence would be more natural.
I still think Bezos is just trying to prove
I'm saying
something.
should, not saying necessarily that's how it works. But theoretically, if you put in a lot of work to change how you look, you should be able to ignore those comments because you can look in the mirror and actually like what you see.
A doctor, she doesn't want to go under the scalp. I mean, you tell me. That's not natural.
No.
And that's fine if that's your choice, but have some dignity and some respect for your setting in your circumstances. No one should be talking about your tits. Sorry. They should be talking about the inauguration.
Okay.
completely agree. Do you agree with her take?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I think I just okay. Actually, no. Let me refrain. Politics is a circus. It's Hollywood for ugly people for the most part, and none of the politicians really today treat it with. There's this lie about we need to get back to dignified politics. I don't believe that dignified politics ever truly existed.
The adults
I think
in
putting
the room.
I think putting on a dog and pony show to make yourself look respectable is bullshit. So actually, this is probably a better representation, along with Fetterman in his shorts, of the actual soul of politics than what you're actually seeing, which is a bunch of robber barons in suits stealing your money and smiling in your face while they steal from you.
Well, shortly after this clip of Megyn Kelly was making the rounds, I saw Ann Coulter, of all people, respond to it with a clapback. Here's this photo of Megyn Kelly showing off some cleavage herself. She said, "This you?"
I mean, this is engagement baiting at its finest. She understands that they're not the same thing, that a photo shoot and a presidential inauguration outfit aren't the same thing and don't have the same thing expected of you.
Yeah, this was a miss for Ann Coulter. Obviously, Megyn Kelly would never show up to the inauguration ceremony wearing the tiny black dress that she's wearing in this photo. She would know better than that. Yeah. And it's obviously all standards of modesty and decorum differ based on the setting.
Yes, of course.
So she's doing like a professional photo shoot for a magazine in this photo. Yeah. She's not showing up to a serious political ceremony.
Yeah, I've changed
making herself the center of attention.
I've changed my mind mid episode. I think, you know what, wear whatever you want, Lauren. It's not like politicians are serious people anyways.
So now you support Sanchez.
I don't support it, but I'm saying that shine a light on the unserious nature of politics.
I really don't think when Lauren Sanchez was getting dressed that morning, she thought she was making a statement
No, I don't think so either.
About how unserious our political system is. Yeah. I really don't think she thought that deeply about it. She just wanted people to look at her.
Yeah.
And I've noticed, like, Melania Trump has gotten a lot of hate in the same vein for doing modeling work back in the day where she was either fully nude or in lingerie. Yeah. And people post those pictures from like 20, 30 years ago and say, this is not behavior becoming of a first lady. This is trashy. But conservatives make a pass for her because she's associated with the Trump family. Would you agree with that being hypocritical? Or is it another example of Megyn Kelly here?
I mean, the idea is that somebody has 30 years, you change and your priorities change and you can be a different person 30 years from now. Modeling is different than that in politics. Now, if they were, like, they post that picture, that magazine cover of, like, Donald Trump and Melania and, like, the fake White House with her. Like, that's not a got you. That's not a got you. That's not the own that they think it is.
Because that was at a time back when Trump was purely an entertainer and not a politician.
Also, given the fact that social leftists are going to be much more on board with ideas of things like pornography or degenerate behavior, it's not a known.
Yeah, so they totally approve of it, but they're trying to use conservative moral standards against conservatives while not believing what they're saying. But I generally agree with that line of thought. Like, she was a model.
She's a classy lady.
I don't think that that's okay. I don't think that modeling requires you to do shoots like that. Like, that wasn't a decision I personally respect, but it also happened decades ago. And now she knows, as a mother and also as the first lady, different things are required of her and her appearance.
It would be different if she was doing it now, I guess.
We were even just talking about, like, the discussions that must be had about how Usha Vance dyes her hair. Does she keep gray hair visible or does she dye it? What are the calls of propriety in that situation?
an infinitely more fascinating discussion a lot of times to me than the actual politics is the perception of how you're received. You know, people talking about J.D. Vance having a beard versus not having a beard, tactically chosen gray hairs, whether that was done to make you look more like a little bit older, so that maybe perhaps people will see more wisdom in the man you married because you look a little bit older. I don't know, but a discussion happened. They don't just not discuss those things.
Yeah, and appearances
Remember
do matter.
when the picture showed up of like Trump and it looked like he had a new haircut and everybody was like, and it became
when
like,
he slicked it back.
Yeah.
Like that became a huge conversation. I've seen people hyper analyze why Tulsi keeps the one streak of gray as well.
I mean, it's like Seth Rollins in WWE would have the blonde streak in his black hair.
Yeah,
just a thing.
It's a thing.
Yep.
It's a style choice.
But yes, I say, you know what? They're all clowns and crooks anyways, so whatever.
So it only is befitting of the
bread
occasion.
and circuses to the max. That's what it is.
Great.
All right. All right. What would you like to see, cringe or cute of the day?
You decide.
All right. Is the cringe particularly bad today?
I'm not sure what you're gonna think of it.
Okay. All right. We'll do cringe
more
first.
of a testament to the American public school system.
What does this say? If you're listening to the show right now, it looks like there's a student at the front of a classroom and he's got a projector on screen and it's got a big heart and it says, "Reasons why I would be a bad boyfriend."
Top 3 reasons why I would be a bad boyfriend. By me.
We now see a puking emoji, a very big puking emoji.
Reason number 1. I'm so ugly! I'm so ugly!
I can't do it anymore. I'm sorry. The lack of a reaction from anyone is killing me right now.
You're already giving up?
I'm giving up.
No, we have to keep going.
Reason number 2. I won't call you babe. I won't call you baby. I'll only call you mommy. Only mommy.
I can't. Nobody's even giggling. There's nobody laughing. This is why I could never do this show live, Mary. Okay, he at least got somebody to giggle there.
And my final reason? I want cuddles all day. Same. Mommy, can I have some cuddles?
Okay, so
all day.
He at least got a little bit of a reaction at the end.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The worst PowerPoint slide transitions ever.
This
to top it all off.
This is why I could never do this show live. Just, I don't want to find out how. I mean, I already know I'm not funny, but I don't want to find out from an audience in person how not funny I am. That just sounds like torture to me.
Yeah.
It would become like it would become the NPR episode right away to it's like, well, there was no reaction expected. I was giving the NPR voice. So I can't be mad at an audience for not laughing at the NPR voice.
But he's doing this for the video so that the video will exist.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
I guess he got what he wanted.
Let's do some cute of the day. All right, this one is from Crand on X. It says, Gumball giving Ollie a nice massage. So it looks like Gumball is the cat and Ollie is the dog. Ooh.
Aww.
Making biscuits.
That's sweet.
That is very cute.
I heard that cats do that because it's like what they do when they're nursing their mom.
Really?
They need their mom.
When we got toast, it was nothing but biscuits for like
So cute.
a month.
I love it.
It was nothing but biscuits.
They're working hard at the bakery.
They are. All right. Let's get started.
The legal and PR battle between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively continues. And it looks like Justin Baldoni is coming out on top. He came out with the receipts. He just dropped the most insane bombshell footage from behind the scenes of filming It Ends With Us. I did not expect this to be available to the public. Not only for legal reasons, I assumed that the studio wouldn't want this footage out there for public viewing, but also because of Blake Lively's confidence when she filed her lawsuit against Baldoni. She didn't expect any of this footage to come out either. She wrote these dramatic narratives of her interactions with Justin Baldoni, expecting people to just believe what she wrote with her lawyers. And now that is being blown out of the water. This is specifically refuting one of Lively's claims that in the middle of shooting a slow-mo romance sequence, Justin Baldoni dragged his lips across her neck and said, "It smells so good," in a really creepy way.
You know how they say that some of the most insufferable work to do is comedy because it's like everyone's miserable because you have to pretend you have like nobody in the set is actually laughing because the joke has to land in post-production, not on set. And I imagine that doing scenes like this are worse.
Well, they're
fake romance.
They're filming this scene so it can end up in a montage of their two characters falling in love. So they're just kind of talking back and forth randomly to get the footage done. And among Blake Lively's accusations, one was about alleged misconduct during the filming of this sequence when their characters are falling in love. In Blake Lively's lawsuit, she alleged that Justin Baldoni, quote, leaned forward and slowly dragged his lips from her ear and down her neck as he said, "It smells so good," like a Joe Biden moment. Justin Baldoni's team released 3 takes from their slow-mo sequence, which they said was the entirety of the footage they shot for that scene. Both actors are clearly behaving well within the scope of the scene and with mutual respect and professionalism, unlike what Blake Lively claimed, which is that this had nothing to do with what was taking place in the script. So
I guess she could have been more mad if he was like, "It smells bad."
Right? Like, I guess that would have made her even angrier. But here's the footage, unedited, of what actually happened.
Okay.
And you can see Justin Baldoni was doing something perfectly normal and well received by Blake Lively in the moment.
All right, here we go.
Probably getting spray tan on you.
It smells good.
Well, it's not that.
She said, what did she say? I'm probably getting a spray tan on you.
Right.
That's what she said. Okay,
Yeah.
let's start it from scratch here.
Probably getting spray tan on you.
It smells good.
Well, it's not that. It's my body makeup. Probably getting.
So then he tries to go in for a kiss, and she kind of resists it.
I mean, it looks exactly like the type of thing that they would show in a slow motion scene there of him leaning in and her smiling. Looks perfectly on par. It actually looks like they're both actually very good at their jobs, which is to have this incredibly awkward conversation while mimicking something that's supposed to look heartfelt and romantic when it's finished in post-production.
And for full context, at the beginning of that part of the reel, you can hear Justin Baldoni say, "I'm getting my beard on you." That's why she says, "I'm getting spray tan on you."
We got a 20 here. John Bastille.
I'm not seeing it.
Says, been watching you guys for a few years now, even when I was in Lithuania.
Oh.
Keep up the great work. Glad I could finally send some support. Thanks for being the best background noise. Hashtag, or no, he didn't say hashtag, but crisis party with a question mark. Well, we're getting there. I put in big letters, crisis party, question mark. Thank you, John.
We are going to get a crisis.
Especially with support coming from Lithuania.
There was another clip where Blake Lively tells Justin Baldoni that he needs a nose job. This woman.
This is just catty mean girl.
This woman is such a mean girl.
To the max. Here we go.
I feel so nosy.
I know.
And my noses.
And my nose is so big.
Yes. I was hoping that we could address this. It's not too late. Just gotta shut down. We gotta call an insurance month and just deal with that.
Yeah.
And then
Cut.
just kidding.
Just kidding.
She threw the just kidding in there to...
I'm sorry, that is so bitchy.
Yes.
That is such a bitch comment. I know that he brought up having a big nose, okay, as a self-deprecating thing, but she was like, "Oh yes, I was really hoping you would bring it up so that we can just take some time off for you to fix that."
It's like when Dane Cook would say that women are mind ninjas. Now it's going to be in the back of his mind forever.
And then they start conversing back and forth about their own relationships with their respective spouses at a certain point. because Blake Lively is insisting that they film this scene with conversation instead of kissing. She says that when she's with her husband, Ryan Reynolds, they can just never stop talking. They're always talking about everything. So that's more romantic than kissing. But Justin Baldoni says, oh, well, when I'm with my wife, we just like stare at each other a lot. We don't do as much talking. You would probably find it terrifying. And this is the point where she gets very defensive about her marriage for, I can't discern why.
Oh my gosh, we don't shut up.
And Emily and I have we have these moments where
Staring? You just stare.
literally we've done it for like 5 minutes. it's like, I think you would find it terrifying. We just literally do each other, and like time.
I found a sociopath.
And like, time stops.
Yeah.
But like, that's just how it's been for us from the beginning.
No, we're like, oh my god, there's not enough time.
And they score again.
Yeah. It's like, oh my god, I forgot to tell you something else.
No, I think that's cute. You guys are really cute.
I think it's more than cute.
They won the Stanley Cup.
I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
Isn't that the weirdest interaction you've ever seen?
Like I say, being
He was trying to be complimentary. He says, oh, you and Ryan Reynolds are so cute together.
It's
and
more
she's
than
like,
cute.
it's more than cute. Okay. And he's like, oh, yeah, no, I mean, it's amazing. You guys are amazing together.
I'm telling you, like, being an actor, they don't get enough credit to pull off making something look real when it's actually the complete opposite in person.
If anything, I wish that all of this drama came about before the movie was released, because then I would have had a ball just trying to detect the moments where they palpably hate each other on camera. Yeah. But, you know, obviously, these clips are not showing Justin Baldoni being a disgusting Harvey Weinstein creep on Blake Lively. He's doing things that are entirely called for in the scene that they were shooting. But Blake Lively's team is doubling down. They claim that every frame of the footage you just watched actually corroborates Blake Lively's allegations against Justin.
They don't, at least not that I saw.
Yeah, here was their statement from Blake Lively's lawyers. Justin Baldoni and his lawyer may hope that this latest stunt will get ahead of the damaging evidence against him, but the video itself is damning. The video shows Justin Baldoni repeatedly leaning in toward Blake Lively, attempting to kiss her, kissing her forehead, rubbing his face and mouth against her neck, flicking her lip with his thumb, caressing her, telling her how good she smells, and talking with her out of character.
Yeah.
There were no lines. There was no dialogue. So they were not talking in character. Every moment of this was improvised by Justin Baldoni with no discussion or consent in advance and no intimacy coordinator present. Yes, we would need an intimacy coordinator for a fully clothed, slow dancing scene. Mr. Baldoni was
You could make the argument that if he's putting his face on the side of her face, if you want to be real litigious about it, that somebody, obviously not her, because I don't think it lines up with her past behavior, but say like somebody who's maybe perhaps like a Gen Z actress who feels real HR heavy, right?
Okay.
Wouldn't want to do it without it, but
maybe. But I'm just saying, I watched Gossip Girl. That's what people know Blake Lively for. Yeah. And the makeout scenes in Gossip Girl that she did were way steamier than anything I just saw. And there were no intimacy coordinators back in 2006.
It's like when I was talking about Roswell, I'm like, why are they all just constantly making out? Can they stop this, please? It's
there
weird.
were no intimacy coordinators to stop it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat.
It actually reminds me of who was it in, I forget the actor's name, but with Alicia Cuthbert in The Girl Next Door. And there's this scene where they're both listening to music like on headphones, I guess theoretically with like a headphone splitter on the same
wired headphones, you mean.
And the director was talking about how he tried to tell the actors like, okay, I just want you to like lay on the floor and look at each other. And you're just like looking very pointedly at each other. And in the movie, it's quite wholesome because it seems like they can't stop looking at each other, which is kind of what he's describing with his wife. And both the actors are like, I don't get it. They're like, I don't get it. Like,
well, it doesn't really matter if they get it, though.
That's what I'm saying,
right?
but that's the point of the director, right? The director's
Yeah.
job is to coax you through the scene and help you figure out what it's supposed to look like when once you've got it done, it goes through editing. And that scene that I'm talking about here was in a montage with a song playing over it, so there wouldn't be any dialogue anyways.
Yeah, regardless of any of the allegations, this does show the intense... It kind of shows why they came to such creative differences, right? Yeah. And why Blake Lively was being such a control freak on set, despite the fact that she wasn't the director. Justin Baldoni starred and directed this movie. So it ultimately came down to his decision how he wanted the characters to interact in that sequence. But she was trying to fight him on it the entire time.
Yeah.
So, and it was not her place to do so.
Emil Hirsch, thank you, is the actor from that movie. I always get him and a couple of other actors mixed up. But yeah, when you're the director and the actor, not everybody can be Mel Gibson or Ben Affleck or Kevin Costner. You know?
Well, he's not
Clint
on their
Eastwood.
level, so she probably thought this is like this nobody, no-name director who I can just push around and walk all over on set.
She's not pushing Mel Gibson around. She's not pushing
taking
Clint
direction.
Eastwood around. Yeah.
Yeah, you can clearly see at the very least that Blake Lively is terrible at taking direction, and she was trying to steamroll his directing decisions the entire time. But her lawyer's statement continued saying, Justin Baldoni was not only Blake Lively's co-star, but the director, the head of studio, and her boss. The video shows Blake Lively leaning away and repeatedly asking for the characters to just talk. Any woman who has been inappropriately touched in the workplace will recognize her discomfort. They will recognize her attempts at levity to try to deflect the unwanted touching. No woman would have, they say no woman should have to take defensive measures to avoid being touched by their employer without their consent.
So is the idea here that a scene that from the beginning called for slow dancing was something she was trying to get out of? Is that what I'm supposed to take from this? Was the idea that they should be dancing like a foot apart?
I guess they needed to leave room for Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't leave enough room for Jesus.
They needed a Jesus barrier.
they needed the same chaperones that were all at all of my private Christian school dances to film this scene.
There you go.
Clearly.
They should have hired them.
The Hollywood intimacy coordinators are just not doing their job.
No.
The statement concludes that releasing It Ends With Us footage to the media is another example of an unethical attempt to manipulate the public. It is the continuation of their harassment and retaliatory campaign. While they're focused on misleading media narratives, we are focused on the legal process. We're continuing our efforts to require Justin Baldoni and his associates to answer in court under oath rather than through manufactured media stunts.
I don't know. I feel like she's lost the upper hand here as far as controlling the narrative.
By far. And it's...
And they're looking for a gag order to be put into place against Justin Baldoni and his team right now. His Blake Lively's lawyer is.
Well, it's too late for that.
Yep.
But they're behaving as if this is a manipulation tactic.
Mm-hmm.
Showing people the footage and showing people all of their correspondences unedited is anything but manipulative.
Yep.
That is actually giving people all the information they can to judge it for themselves. Mm-hmm. And they happen to sympathize with Justin Baldoni now that they have more information. Justin Baldoni's team say they also have plans to launch a website to bolster his accusations against Blake Lively. Brian Friedman, Justin Baldoni's lawyer, released the footage of the two actors on set in an effort to refute some of Lively's claims. His legal team said in a statement that Justin Baldoni and team has nothing to hide, and this once more proves this. But yeah, the effort to launch this website is to show the public all of their correspondences, all of the footage, and everything unedited, unadulterated.
I wonder if
not the way that Blake Lively showed those text screenshots to the New York Times.
I mean, I wonder if the idea is there was a conversation had after this was shot where she put up some boundaries and said, look, that made me uncomfortable. Then she should be sharing that, right? To prove that what she felt in the moment didn't feel...
Do you think she came off as uncomfortable in the clip?
I mean, to me, when I see something like that, you're dancing with somebody very intimately that's not somebody you're intimate with, so there's a certain amount of discomfort from doing it anyways. I didn't see anything that indicated that. That doesn't mean it's not there. Perhaps she did feel uncomfortable, but I don't think that the majority of the people are going to look at that and see it.
Justin Baldoni also claims he has the right to defend himself with the truth.
Yeah.
This is what we'll be continuing to show with the upcoming website containing all correspondence as well as relevant videos that quash her claims. Good for him.
Yep.
Because he had no other choice. He was backed into a corner, and someone much more famous and powerful and rich than him in his industry was capable of ruining him with her claims. He had no other choice than to give this footage to the public. It's not really a stunt. It's just... It was his last resort.
It will probably make the industry more litigious, meaning that there will be intimacy coordinators for dance scenes, not just sex scenes.
Yeah, but doesn't that just mean you should vet the people who are signed on for your movie to make sure they have a good track record with being, as loaded of a term as it is, easy to work with?
Well, I mean, I don't know what her history is.
You know?
I know that he, the show Jane the Virgin, which was one he was on for like 5 seasons or something like that, had a lot of scenes like that. So I imagine that he has more than enough experience with it. But again, I don't know who the, I didn't see anything there that indicated to me that she was deeply uncomfortable.
She might have been.
She might have.
I don't even think she's lying. I think she's manipulating people with the way that she narrativized it all.
Yeah.
But she definitely seemed like she was uncomfortable to me.
I imagine
she just didn't voice it in the moment.
I see a certain level of discomfort from doing a scene like that in general.
I think she was uncomfortable because obviously these are 2 married people who are filming a scene where they're falling in love. That is uncomfortable and unnatural no matter what. That's part of the job, though, as an actor. Yeah. But she also clearly hates him and gets any digs at him that she can when the opportunity arises. So she was uncomfortable, you know, being this physically close with someone that she dislikes. Yeah. And it's not predatory. That just is normal. You know, if you dislike this person that much, it's going to feel uncomfortable to have to do kiss scenes with him. Yep. But that doesn't mean that you're a victim.
All right, let's go Super Chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Wednesday, Brett and Mary. Brett, how do you feel about the Neely spinoff in development? I don't think it can be as good without Reacher."
The Neely spinoff, yeah.
Sorry, Neely.
So, what is her name? Maria Sten is a very engaging actress. She does great. I think it is kind of, the problem is that without Reacher as the backdrop for her character, she becomes the quirky action hero, and it works against his more dry sense of humor. So she's kind of, she seems like she's on the spectrum. She eats a lot of cereal. She's very smart, and that's great. And as a supporting,
what does her eating cereal have?
It's just it's like a core aspect of her character. She's
really?
It's just she's the LOL so random character in this show, and she's great, and she's welcome levity and growth in every scene that she's in with Reacher. But she works well as as like a backing character for him. On her own, she's gonna have to have either her own version of that to interact with her, which makes no sense because then there's 2 people of the same sort, or there's going to have to be a straight man that's going to have to be a secondary character in there that's going to echo Alan Ritchson's Reacher in some way. I just don't know if necessarily that character itself carries a show on its own. But I do understand, given the popularity of the character throughout the show, I do understand why the studios felt the desire to make a spinoff about her. Frankly, I would have rather seen one about Finley and Roscoe, even though, I don't think they would ever make that. But,
It's such a misguided attempt at a cash grab.
It's like Citadel. They did like 3 spinoffs. I'm like, did anybody even watch the original?
They're thinking about, I thought they were going to do a spinoff with Rina Sawayama's character from John Wick 4.
At least that, that and Donnie Yen's character as well.
It's just like no one cares. They want a John Wick movie.
Well, remains to be seen on that, I guess. Like the idea is like they've invested too much money and time into that franchise, and Hollywood is too into IP to just walk away from something like that. And to be fair, The Continental was a pretty successful show on for whatever you want to call Peacock. You know how successful you want to call that.
And Brett, stop getting Mocha sick. That's rude.
I did not get Mocha sick, but luckily we got Mocha home last night. We had to go to the ER, and she seems to be doing well today. So
that's good. Prayers for Mocha, everyone. I think we're finally going to get justice for Mocha.
I thought about it today.
I think we might actually, this might be the moment where we get justice for Mocha. Red Snow said, I trust Bread that I will like this episode.
See, there you go. You liked it, and hopefully you are enjoying it.
Thank you for hitting the like button.
Let's hold off on the rest and let's come back.
All right. Disney is working on casting for a live-action version of Tangled, and they're looking to cast a Rapunzel character for this movie. There's been a lot of debate already for months about who it will be. A lot of people are intent on race-swapping Rapunzel. They really want a South Asian actress to play Rapunzel with black hair instead of blonde hair. But it looks like they're going the more traditional route. They don't want to anger people right now. One of the rumored castings for Rapunzel is Sabrina Carpenter. I find this really confusing, if true.
Why?
She's definitely too old to play Rapunzel.
She's what, 25 or 26?
Being 25, and she'll be, it'll be a long time before they actually get this movie on the road and get it done.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make sense to me. I guess they see it as a full circle moment because Sabrina Carpenter came off of the Disney pipeline. She came off of the Disney Child Star Factory line. So she would be coming back. Yeah, she was in the Girl Meets World spinoff. She would be coming back to Disney to do this role. I mean, if I was
her, I wouldn't do this. You're busy.
Yeah, right? But Halle Bailey, had her own music career that was doing just fine before playing Ariel.
But she's not on her level right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So Sabrina Carpenter would actually need to take a significant pay cut to stop touring and film this. But I saw a couple of takes here. Amala Ekpunobi tweeted, "This girl sexualizes herself beyond belief. Please keep her away from Rapunzel." The leading theory as to why Sabrina Carpenter wouldn't make sense as a Disney princess is because she's too sexualized. She's just too sexy. She leans into her sex appeal way too much. So she's not capable of leaning into a more wholesome, family-friendly aesthetic.
I mean, just because she is doesn't mean she couldn't do it, but that doesn't make it a good idea.
I think it would also lead a bunch of even younger fans
once you leave the camp,
listen to her music and want to go to her concerts and see her doing what she does at her concerts.
Once you leave the Disney camp, maybe it's best to not go back if you do choose to go down the route as an adult. The less than wholesome route as an adult.
She had the innocent Disney star thing going for a while. Then she grew up, adopted this new persona, which, although it's fun and pink and glittery and girly, it's heavily sexualized.
Doesn't that just kind of seem like a step back for her to just go back to, like, maybe you go back to Disney years later after your music career has gone through a couple of different iterations, you've reinvented yourself a few times, then you go back to your roots rather than just
Well, Miley hasn't done that.
She gets I mean, not as an actress, but they honored her at award shows for Disney and stuff like that. She's still associated with the brand.
Yeah. You remember when she took her therapist to that award ceremony?
Yes, that's what I was thinking of.
It speaks volumes. Yeah. Another take said, "A white woman playing a Disney princess? The vibe shift is so real." They think that a white woman playing Rapunzel is a sign that wokeness is dead.
I'm with Jeremy Briggs in the chat. Just cast Pedro Pascal. They make him, he's in everything anyways.
Would he look good in the dress?
Yeah, he can do it.
He could grow out his hair.
Yeah.
Well, he can wear a wig. It's fine. But I don't know. Do you think that this is a sign of a cultural vibe shift that they're not willing to race swap Rapunzel?
First of all, I'll wait to see what they actually do, and then
This is all alleged.
I'll make that judgment.
But if they cast a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman to play Rapunzel, is that a sign of the tides turning?
No.
No?
No. I don't think so.
Is it just a sign that they're maybe tiptoeing a little bit?
Yeah.
They're getting a little more cautious with the way that they implement diversity?
I guess maybe because it hasn't been done yet, so the casting, it's relevant to the times, whereas like anything that comes out now, it's like it was already in the pipeline 2 years ago, so it's not really indicative of anything. So yeah, maybe the idea is that anything that's getting cast right now would be indicative of that.
Well, I guess that's the conversation they're having.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any rumors about who would play Flynn Rider, who is Rapunzel's love interest in Tangled. The worst thing they could do to this movie is get like Timothée Chalamet to play Flynn Rider.
He's too old, right?
Well, not only is he too old, I mean he looks pretty young. He's not just too old though. He does not have the je ne sais quoi of a Flynn Rider. He doesn't have that masculine.
Who does?
Of a.
Just cast Henry Cavill.
Yeah, but you couldn't like really find a young actor out there who has any shred of masculinity to play that role. Like, they don't exist.
Yeah.
There are no like Henry Cavills in their early 20s.
I mean that's it's not really how things work.
They're just not out there.
Probably because the ones that do look that way in their 20s end up having it's kind of like they talk about. I talk a lot about how men in Hollywood tend to grow into their roles.
Yeah.
Right? They have young faces and then they grow into what they're supposed to look like. Boy bands were like the opposite. Where
Leonardo DiCaprio was also the opposite.
Boy bands were like the opposite, where it's like you start out as something that's marketable to women and then you become... you just look like a beer dad guy who drinks at the local watering hole. As such as happens, right? They go in reverse.
Yeah.
But it's not like you'd expect a young 20-something actor to have that type of presence. It's not what they're promoting right now. It's not where the marketing is.
Another actress that is being eyed for the role of Rapunzel is McKenna Grace, who does fall into the right age range. She's 18. And I only remember her from the Ghostbusters.
Yep, she was great, and she was the whole reason, in my opinion, that Ghostbusters 2021 actually worked. Afterlife, not Frozen Empire.
I wouldn't give her that much credit.
Did you watch Afterlife, or did
we
you
have
see
a 20
Frozen
real quick
Empire?
from Mary Perry. Can't we just have Zachary Levi play Flynn?
He's a little old now.
Yeah, I mean, he was great as the voice actor, but I don't think it would necessarily work with a live-action adaptation, not to mention the fact that Disney probably doesn't want to associate with Zachary Levi, given his, outspoken political stances. But yeah, I mean, it was distracting for me watching Ghostbusters with McKenna Grace because she looked so... she looked so similar to Ella Emhoff that I couldn't get that out of my mind every time she was on screen. I didn't see pictures of her looking how she normally looks though. I'm looking at a headshot of her where she just looks very normal, pretty,
She's also
feminine.
a singer. She's also a singer, which helps.
Good that she has that skill. That is a plus. But Disney is reportedly looking for an actress around the same age as McKenna Grace for the role, but not McKenna Grace.
That was rough. That was rough. That they're like, we're looking for somebody
shady.
around your around your age and height and hair color.
Do you know anyone?
Do you know anyone? They're like, I'm available.
Yeah, for some reason they haven't chosen her. And then this is another interesting rumor. Jennifer Lopez might play Mother Gothel. That's the rumor, at least so far. Jennifer Lopez has been fueling rumors that she'll play Mother Gothel in Disney's live-action Tangled after liking posts about her taking on the role. Another rumor is that Kathryn Hahn could play Mother Gothel.
Well, Disney likes Kathryn Hahn. They've worked together, so that makes sense to me.
But what is it with them taking these evil stepmother roles and putting attractive women in them?
I mean, Kathryn Hahn is probably a great fit for that, which is that she's got a symmetrical face, but she's getting older and she looks fine, but she's not like she doesn't look like a Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah, but the idea of them casting Jennifer Lopez is just so absurd.
You mean like how they
Like,
cast
she's
Gal
so-
Gadot as the
Yeah, if anything, J-Lo is too sexy to play Mother Gothel. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
And putting Gal Gadot in the role of the evil queen in Snow White also
Get
never
America
made
Ferrera.
sense. I guess you could go with that.
Yeah.
But, you know, I find it interesting that they're kind of changing the meaning of the story based on who they choose for these roles. Because Mother Gothel is the archetype of the fairy tale devouring mother who has locked Rapunzel away from the world and deprived the world of her beauty.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the idea is that if she's not liked, then Jennifer Lopez can lean into her persona to sell the role.
Lean into what persona?
Well, the fact that she's a pretty unlikable lady.
But she doesn't know that. She thinks everyone loves her.
So a good director would be like, a good director would just help her figure that out.
But yeah, as for the Sabrina Carpenter rumors, I don't buy it.
Yeah.
I think she has way too much to lose by even taking the role, but also it just aesthetically, thematically doesn't make sense because she's leaned so heavily into this sexualized persona for her music that she couldn't just flip on a dime and become
No, I think she probably
this, like,
could, but it wouldn't benefit her career.
wholesome, like kid-friendly character.
I mean, it's the director's
she
job.
She wouldn't be legible as an innocent character. Do you know what I mean?
It's the director's job to pull that performance out of her, but as far as her brand goes, it's just a detour and a step backwards that isn't going to benefit her in any ways, in any way whatsoever.
And just generally, I am sick of the constant content cycle that Disney is going through, where they have to take every single animated movie and make it live action for no reason other than to put butts in seats.
Yeah.
There's no benefit to be had from making Tangled into a live action movie.
Well,
it makes more sense with the medium of animation.
Unfortunately, the same was true of Lion King, and it made $1 billion, and now Mufasa is actually clawing its way to a good box office. That wasn't even on purpose. To a good box office performance. And people will say all the time that everybody wants something new. People show up for slop, unfortunately. They do.
If you want to distract your kids with a movie for a couple hours, just play Tangled at home. We have Tangled at home. It's actually better than the one that they're making right now. So I don't have high hopes for this. But
what if J-Lo is like, I'm going to commit to the bit. They're going to use prosthetics to make me ugly, like
would she do
like the penguin?
Would she do it, or is she too vain?
I mean, would that get you on her side if she's like, no, I'm going full character. I'm like Colin Farrell putting on the makeup for the penguin.
I would respect commitment to the bit.
That would be funny. They could do that.
All right, let's read some super chats. Melanie said, with the Blake Lively false accusation scandal, I'm tired of hearing false essay claims hurt real female victims. They act like hypothetical women are more of a victim than the falsely accused man. I agree. I think that that's a very convenient way to counter signal false Me Too allegations that still seems feminist enough. But we can just say, yeah, Justin Baldoni is obviously, you know, at least until we find out more from court proceedings, he is seemingly the victim in this situation, and there's nothing wrong with just pointing that out for what it is.
Let's do 2 more. We're getting towards the second crisis party, guys. Let's go.
Olvin McGoth said, I love my daily mental slop news. Is this us?
That's us.
Are we the daily mental slop news?
I'll write that down.
I like to think that we're not news reporters. We're opinion havers, but I guess our opinions are
pop
just...
based. I'm going to make one called Pop Slop.
We're Pop Slop.
Sounds wrong.
What was the parody account called? Poo Crave?
Poo Crave.
They haven't really been popping off as much recently.
No, it's too bad.
Red Snow said the next party goal should be Brad getting a spray tan so we can call him Toast and say he just got cooked when he says something we don't like.
I mean, I actually get pretty tan in the summer, so I don't need to get a spray tan. We just need summer to come back around. Yeah, I get
I don't recall you looking much different in the summer, but I guess it's just slow.
Yep.
I definitely don't tan, but
You
that's
do
a
not.
surprise to no one.
Do one more.
Shane H. Wilder said it snowed in Texas on Monday night. The town of Beaumont, which never gets snow, was in a blizzard warning. Brett would call it a day ending in Y.
Yeah. Out here, there's not as much snow, but because of the mountains and the fact that you don't spend a lot of time on freeways or main roads, you spend a lot of time on back roads, the plowing is just not as consistent. So as much as Minnesota was way colder and got way more snow, I would say that driving out here in the snow is more dicey than it ever was when I was living in Minnesota, where it's just basically flat and stuff gets plowed relatively quickly and salted.
They have the infrastructure for it.
And for the most part, like all of the roads have to be repaved every few years because the salt just destroys it, but you have to salt everything in the winter. So, all right, let's hold off on the rest, and then we will come back after the fact.
Things are not looking good for Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Vanity Fair just put out a massive report about their efforts to eschew the royal label and become American media moguls. The title of it is American Hustle. 5 years after leaving the monarchy, Meghan and Harry are trying their damnedest to just be normal moguls. They just want to be normal, private, ordinary media moguls. With Netflix deals and podcasts and celebrity friends. And I'm sure that they are no stranger to the practice of calling paparazzi on themselves. But there were a lot of different revelations from this report, and it's behind a paywall, which is infuriating. So I went and investigated for myself. It kind of seems like a veiled hit piece on Meghan Markle specifically. It doesn't necessarily make Prince Harry look as bad, although he does look pathetic, as he always does. It more so fueled the rumors that Meghan Markle is a sociopath. So here were some of the key takeaways. Staff allegedly needed therapy after working with Meghan Markle.
I'm not here to defend Meghan Markle, but if that's true, you're a dork.
Well, this issue was already brought up. I think we did cover it on the show. But they decided to reiterate all of those claims in the Vanity Fair piece. They made sure to mention as well that both Meghan Markle and Prince Harry declined to do interviews for this because they knew that the cover report was going to make them look bad. So they just didn't want to associate it with them at all. But this is before they left England and moved to Montecito. It claimed others described taking extended breaks from work to escape her scrutiny, exiting their job and undergoing long-term therapy after working with Meghan. A source told the writer of the report that she felt if Meghan chose to acknowledge her own shortcomings or personal contributions to situations instead of adopting a perpetual victim role, her perception might be better.
Yeah.
What a revelation. That's really good advice if only Meghan Markle would listen to it. Also, allegedly, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's neighbors in LA don't like them. Their neighbors have slammed them as the most entitled, disingenuous people on the planet. This is all coming from anonymous sources, but one anonymous local told Vanity Fair they moved away from England to get away from the scrutiny of the press, and all they do is try to get in the press in the U.S.
Bet you there's like a guy who works for these magazines whose name is Anonymous Sources, so they can be like, anonymous sources say.
Another resident who has never met the couple referred to the duo as the Prince and the Starlet. Other negatives attributed to the pair include increased visits from out-of-towners, getting impossible to walk in, booking at the local restaurants because of their renting out these establishments, and possibly even increased housing prices based on their residence in Montecito.
So it's no longer thanks Obama, it's thanks Harry
Markle.
and Meghan. Thanks Markle.
Also, allegedly, Meghan Markle did not come up with her own idea for her podcast, Archetypes. This is the podcast that she goes on to complain about how women are downtrodden and forced to embody very diminutive roles in society. They're degraded into different tropes, archetypes, if you will. She did not come up with this idea. This was probably workshopped by a whole team of people who thought that it would make her look good.
I mean, okay, maybe I'm just cynical and we look at this stuff all day, but when I look at somebody like her get a podcast like that, I don't for a single second think that she sat down one day with like a whiteboard and a notebook and like planned all this out. I think that she's a product of a marketing firm, a PR agency, and a bunch of other professionals whose job it is to create content slop for everybody to consume. She's merely the front face of it.
There's
That's
no
not
authenticity.
shocking to me. Her lack of authenticity shouldn't be surprising to anyone. That's on you, the consumer, if you go to Meghan Markle for authenticity.
That's fine, really. But the problem with it is that she tries to curate the vibe of authenticity with this fake voice. She does this fake voice on the podcast. I unfortunately have listened to a few episodes of Archetypes, and I regret every minute of it. But she does this really fake, heartfelt yoga instructor voice. She's like whispering in your ear about feminism and the archetypes that us women are sadly we're so put upon in society, and it's really sad that we're so degraded and we're just not allowed to be ourselves. We're not allowed to express our true emotions because they just call us bitches.
I bet you it's a trigger where, like, when she's at home, she uses that voice when she's mad at him, and he knows he's in trouble.
She calls him Your Royal Highness when she's mad at him.
Listen, Your Highness.
Listen, Your Highness. Now, this is the worst part. This is the absolute worst part of the report. I always thought this. People have been talking about it for a while, that Meghan Markle seems to want to be Princess Diana. Like, she wants to embody Diana's whole persona. She wants to emulate her in every way to the point where it's creepy. And people almost think that she imitated Diana in order to make Prince Harry fall in love with her, because he has this unresolved trauma from losing his mom. She's going to swoop in and take that place in his life.
I mean, that's the movie
and mother him.
That's the movie I want to see.
Yeah, well, it's been confirmed. She allegedly, they have this type of relationship where she's kind of the mommy wife to him, and he looks to her to handle all the stressful situations they end up in. She allegedly is re-parenting Prince Harry. Re-parenting him.
Tom King could write this movie.
A source familiar with the couple described their dynamic as Meghan having a caregiver role in which she is the one who makes things happen. She wears the pants in the relationship, but also is the mommy. They noted that Harry has changed since entering their relationship, saying he would previously pop into the palace's press office where he may seem a little bored when asking questions, but also keen. However, they added that they cannot imagine the Harry of today being willing to engage with the media in search of purpose. The source concluded, I don't want to be like, oh, it's an Oedipus thing or whatever, but it kind of feels like she's re-parenting him in a way.
Okay.
Super creepy.
Yeah, but believable.
Like, that's kind of sociopathic for you to, like, come up with a plan for how to reel someone in, psychologically weaponizing their trauma
Straight out of
against
a movie
them.
plot.
Like, in order to seduce him, she had to kind of meld herself onto who she believed his mother to be. Very weird. Yeah. And sadly, it's not just celebrity couples. Like, there are a lot of couples with dynamics like this nowadays. I was just ranting about this to you off air. It seems like the new moray of dating dynamics is women taking on all the control in the relationship and being that kind of mommy figure. And that almost seems to be what a lot of young guys are looking for now. It's like mommy GF.
Well,
like,
I
they
mean,
want to be taken care of and nursed. Figuratively, of course.
I mean, it halves out their power dynamic anyways, given that he comes from royalty, right? So it just puts them on some type of weird quasi-level playing field while she does all the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there were other parts of this talking about their business ventures. Allegedly, they just don't come up with any of their own business ideas.
Again, that doesn't surprise me.
They're just, it's just, what's surprising is that these companies like Netflix or these Spotify executives are willing to throw tens of millions of dollars at two people who don't have a single idea what to do with it. Like, they're just begging them to make something, anything that people will listen to or watch.
That's even better for them, because what the studio or the agency wants more than anything is the creative control. They don't want somebody who's going to have heavy opinions on how it should look. They want to use your image and likeness and then mold you into whatever they want you to be. So it's actually better for them to have docile clients with name recognition and visibility points.
Well, allegedly, Harry is the docile one. Meghan Markle is the control freak.
Yes.
But the control freak who is playing awfully hardball for someone who has nothing to offer.
Yeah.
For people to view or listen anything she does. I think they were trying to portray Harry as the victim in this story.
I mean, that's how it feels like it's supposed to be portrayed.
That's why it feels kind of planted. One of the theories here is that this is actually commissioned by the royal family in order to salvage Harry's reputation while throwing Meghan Markle under the bus, claiming that he's alone, he's dumb, he didn't know any better, he misses his family.
That doesn't help him. That just makes him look helpless.
It does,
kind
but
of sad.
People are more willing to sympathize with someone who's in the victim role than the perpetrator.
Yeah.
And it would at least give him an out, an excuse for why he treated his family the way he did. But yeah, I clearly see that this dynamic is playing out, and it's not something. It's not like a rare thing these days. Like,
she does have an insanely negative media portrayal. Like, she just is very disliked.
And it seems like there's nothing she can really do to recover from it.
It would have to be an extreme level of self-actualization and self-realization and the ability to laugh at yourself. She would have to allow herself to be the butt of the joke. You know what she could do? The roast of Meghan Markle.
That would be incredible.
If she could
I would love to see that.
If she could do the roast of Meghan Markle and maybe do some type of meta role where she plays a character that's exactly as she's being described here.
That would be incredible. Yeah, she should.
Yeah. That's how she could rehab her image.
I think that you should be her consultant.
Yeah.
You should be her PR consultant.
I do want to join the consultant class.
That would be the perfect in for you.
I would love to be paid obscene amounts of money to tell somebody to let themselves be humiliated.
Another rumor that was going around is that Meghan Markle was never pregnant with either of their two children, and in fact wore a fake pregnancy belly while hiring surrogates to gestate her children, unbeknownst to the public and the media.
I mean, that's bonkers considering how open the public is to that type of, like, in fact, selling a story of being, and again, if we're assuming that she's willing to lie by wearing a pregnancy belly, then I'm assuming she'd be willing to lie about being infertile, or actually being infertile would be an extremely sympathetic story for her.
Well, that was actually part of their docuseries on Netflix. She said that because of all the stress that the media put her under, it caused her to have a miscarriage.
Okay, that would not...
That was the story that she put out there.
That would not ingratiate her to the public, because a lot of people would be like, I don't know if I buy that. But just...
And it's not something anyone
like
can relate to.
A tragic story of just a woman who wants badly to have kids and can't is an extremely, that's a tale that people can get behind, that they can understand why you would have a surrogate.
Well,
right?
I deeply object to surrogacy on moral grounds, and that is becoming a more and more pronounced conversation as it becomes a more and more common practice and more financially accessible to people other than celebrities.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe this one. The truthers, the Markle truthers. On this one. But one rumor I am willing to entertain is that Netflix is considering axing her show altogether before it even comes out. It's already been delayed by 2 months out of sensitivity to the LA wildfire victims.
I mean, I don't see why you don't just put it out and let the hate watching roll in.
That would be beneficial for Netflix at the very least, not for Meghan Markle. But yeah, there's now betting odds on Meghan Markle's show either getting axed before it even gets released or getting canceled after one season.
I don't know if I buy that. Okay, maybe that.
That's more likely?
That one makes more sense to me.
Yeah, I
mean,
highly doubt that they're going to trash it.
It's more common for
altogether.
these types of things to not be canceled, but just another season just never comes out. And then they're like, why didn't another season come out? And then everybody forgets.
The latest odds are that they believe Meghan Markle's show is going to get canceled after one season. The hate watching isn't going to keep it afloat.
No, hate watching doesn't, because hate watching rarely ever makes it past the first season. Rings of Power, Velma, you know, they got the hate watchers in season 1, and only the most dedicated of hate watchers stay around for season 2.
Yeah, well, the last rumor that I saw going around, which I also don't believe, is that their divorce is imminent.
Okay.
I don't think Harry is ever making it out of the sunken place, realistically.
Okay.
We've seen other examples of this. Ben Affleck is one of them.
Yeah, but he got out of it both times, eventually.
Yeah, I mean, eventually. But when you're in that place,
And Ben Affleck
you're like
benefits-
fully brainwashed.
Ben Affleck benefits from it because misery makes you a great creative. So...
Yeah, Harry doesn't have any
Yeah.
creative chops,
So
so
if
it's not going to
Harry-
come. Like, there's nothing that we're gonna enjoy to come out of his pain.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
There'll be no payoff, only pain.
It's very sad.
And we continue laughing at their downfall.
All right.
Corey
Let's go to Super Chats. Let's
Anderson.
get to a second crisis party, guys. Come on.
Corey Anderson said, "Sup with them sleeves, Mary." What about the sleeves? They're puffy.
They are.
I like puffy sleeves. Alvin McGough said, "Bread, do a review of the '86 movie Critters."
I never saw Critters. I believe Critters, if I remember correctly, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, maybe it was Gremlins, was the movie that Raphael was coming out of in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1 out of the movie theater. He goes, ugh, where do they come up with this stuff? I think it was Critters, but it could have been Gremlins. One of the two.
How are they allowed to put the Gremlins IP in their movie?
Probably from the same studio.
Oh, so they were trashing their own movie?
I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily trashing. I don't remember which one it was, if it was Gremlins or if it was Critters, but it was one of them. Raphael comes out in his overcoat and top hat, very clearly a gigantic, like humanoid-looking turtle. And
I just saw an ad for a giant trench coat for that purpose.
Perfect.
Maybe we should steal movie tickets by doing that. Corey Anderson said, "Scarlett over Blake, you done effed up, Ryan." Was Ryan Reynolds with Scarlett Johansson?
Was he? I don't know.
I don't know if that ever happened.
In the chat, Spike Insanity says he was watching Critters, Brett. Okay.
Let me look it up. Ryan Reynolds. Oh, I see. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds and Scarlett Johansson were divorced after 2 years of marriage.
Okay.
I'm surprised I
didn't
never
know
heard
that.
about that. But the rumor is that he cheated on Scarlett Johansson with Blake Lively.
Tisk, tisk, tisk.
And that was the reason for their divorce. Yikes, if true. He did F up, and he found out? I don't know.
Yeah.
Pop Culture Junkie said Netflix is starting to make tons from their ad-supported version. They get premium rates for targeted ads instead of Nielsen ratings that are estimates. Advertisers know exactly who's watching.
Yep. Ad tier is the way to go for most of these streaming services now.
I would love to know those stats.
It's always weird to me how it's like people are like, why did we give up TV for Netflix when we've got ads now anyways? I'm like, I don't think you remember, like, there was a step in between there that you're forgetting, which is the step of you getting to pick what you're watching anyways. Before you watched ads and you didn't get a say in what you watched, you just turned on the TV and hoped something, was to your liking. Maybe if we had started by never having a premium version, but just you can watch whatever you want, but you also have to see the ads, maybe things would have been different.
I think that channel surfing is actually fun.
You like channel surfing? It was never my thing.
Yeah.
When we travel, I bring a Roku with us.
Seriously?
Yep.
You're that much of a control freak.
I have a travel Roku.
That is insane.
Yep.
That's actually, I don't want to just brush past that. You travel with a Roku?
Yeah, I do.
That's insane.
That's not insane.
Because, like, how much time could you possibly have, first of all, if you're traveling? But secondly, like, is it the end of the world if you have to watch network television?
Yes.
It's really that bad?
No. Like, when we were in, when we went to to cover Lady Ballers, I had to watch network television and just watched whatever channel was on. Just kept playing the Spider-Man movies, so I just watched that the whole time I was in the hotel. There wasn't that much time. We were.
I guess I was just doom scrolling.
We were working most of the time, anyways, because we had we were only there for like a day and a half or something.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Don't knock IG Reels. Where would I get my cat videos and the tarted dank memes that I send to Brett Burtman and Tacty Platty?"
There you go.
I like Reels. Ever since I started scrolling Reels, I used to think like, oh, I'm not one of those people. Yep. Like I don't do that. I don't scroll through videos like that. But then I was able to like do the thing where you curate your algorithm over time. And I trained it. It into submission to show me only the best stuff.
So I find that when I stop using it for a period of time, and then it like reverts, like back to some.
Yeah. What is the default state of Instagram Reels?
Like I don't know.
Just like
travel influencers,
food reviews,
travel influencers, and I still get like a lot of skating or like it's like a lot of fitness stuff too, but they're like having a back and forth about my Roku situation here.
That is insane, right? Like the chat agrees with
Pampered Princess Brett. First of all, that's not true because I bought it. I brought it with me. So no, pampered would be if I expected them to put one in the room for me. So I ignore you.
Well, actually, my hotel room in DC had a TV. I turned it on because I was like, this is my favorite part. I get to watch Impractical Jokers on network television. And then the cable wasn't working, so that I was completely deprived.
DCNC has my back. Says, take a Roku, the remote, and an HDMI cable. Easy. I'll do you one better. So when we were... Do I want to tell the story? Yes.
You have to now.
So when we were traveling over the holidays, I brought the Roku and the HDMI cable, and I forgot the remote. But because you're not on your home Wi-Fi network, you can't use the phone version of the Roku remote, which you have downloaded in your phone. So I had to go buy a new one.
You went out while you were out of town to buy a Roku remote.
Buy just a whole new Roku.
To use your travel Roku.
I had to buy a whole new Roku.
You bought a whole new Roku?
Cost $20.
That is unhinged.
Yep.
I'm floored.
Comatose is not insane, just particular. Thank you.
You're not going to live this down. You will never recover from this.
Yep. Rita Sheckelstein says, Bert, you need a hobby like for real, no cap. I was traveling in a hotel. And it's for like at night before you go to bed. I have a routine and I stick to my routine.
You would think by the time you realized you forgot the remote that you would resign yourself to watching network television.
Nah, not on my watch. Nope.
But you were like, no, I'm going to drive out to Target.
Yeah, it was literally Target too.
And buy a whole ass new Roku.
In Ohio of all places.
Like that is insane behavior. Chat will not forget this.
I don't give a fuck.
Dingus Khan said, wasn't the original perk of subscribing to Netflix was that it was cheaper than cable and had to ads? Cable isn't looking so bad now? Had no ads, I guess you mean? Yeah, I mean, that was originally the appeal.
I mean, but that's not the point, right? Like, it's still cheaper than cable to just have Netflix.
We have a 20 from DCNC for Bretty's Roku fund.
Thank you for that. I'm glad somebody is
You can't
on my
refund
side.
his dignity.
There is nothing
You can't buy him back his dignity.
There's nothing undignified about making sure that
your dignity is
that you have your entertainment with you wherever you go. Somebody else also said cast it off your phone, Brett. No.
Why couldn't you do that?
Spotty Wi-Fi in hotels. Nicer hotels, it'll work better depending on where you're staying.
Okay. Yeah. Corey Anderson said, Brett, you need to learn how to relax, my dude.
I do, by putting on the TV and watching what I want to watch.
But he means probably like sitting still without stimulation.
Yes, that is one. I will agree with you on. Yeah, that was on our discussion earlier. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. If I was to be brutally honest with myself and I wanted to be more to grow, I would be better at that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat.
I also wouldn't bring a, I imagine women bring some crazy stuff for their hair that I would never bring with me and would find completely excessive.
Like what?
I have a straightener, for one.
That's not excessive.
Neither is bringing a Roku so that you can watch whatever you want. Takes up less space, too.
Those are not analogous whatsoever. You compared a grooming product to a whole ass Roku that you went out to buy.
This big and has
tell me
two
this.
cords.
If Olivia forgot to travel with her hair straightener, would she have just gone to Target and bought a new one?
I have no idea.
Because I doubt she would have done that.
We'd have to ask her.
That's just my best
I will
guess.
ask her tonight. I
Okay.
don't think she doesn't use a hair straightener. So
I assume it also wasn't her insisting that you go out and get the Roku. That was your idea.
That was me.
That was all
she
you.
She would have been completely fine. Like
you were the problem.
Unfortunately for her, like she probably watches too much TV now because of me. Before
you're dragging her down.
I am
with
dragging
you.
her down. Before she would have brought, she'd been like, I'll do puzzles. I'll do, like she's doing all of these like intellectually stimulating hobbies. She still does those, but she does so while I'm watching TV and scrolling on X.
You've got like 12 different monitors.
No, I have there used to be a picture like on my Instagram back in the day where it's like I had 4 TVs in my room.
That's insane.
One was an N64. One was Netflix. One was pirated television. I don't do that anymore.
Why would you have a separate TV for that?
I don't even know. I would just
Okay.
go from one to the other. And the other one was another video game system.
Insane.
Yeah. The
Insane
ADHD is
behavior.
real.
Corey Anderson, I am not reading that. Pop Culture Junkie said the Coulter Kelly cat fight may have some history. Yeah, I can't imagine what kind of decades-long beef that Ann Coulter and Meghan Kelly are harboring against each other. Melanie said with the Blake Lively false accusation.
I think we read this one.
Yeah, I think maybe you resent it.
Okay.
Yeah, we got that one. Jared Klein said, for I Hate Musicals, the Mary Morgan story, let's write a song called Pop Culture Crisis with the actors as Mary and Brett alternating singing Pop Culture Crisis at different pitches and lengths. That is never going to happen. There will be no Mary Morgan musical.
It would be great.
It'd be antithetical to everything I believe in. Brian Bledsoe said Mary's face when she imitated Blake Lively should be used for a future thumbnail. What was the face? I don't even know what faces I'm making.
Yeah,
anymore.
I don't know what it was.
I don't remember. Shane H. Wilder said no dialogue in a scene covered by music, just pantomiming and interaction looks fake, so you have a conversation. This is normal for this type of scene.
Yep.
Yeah, but they were saying like he was speaking to her out of the script. When I initially read that part of her lawsuit, I was like, oh, so they're like filming something with dialogue and he's coming up with it on the fly and saying what he wants to say to her as Justin? That's really weird.
Yeah.
Then when you see the footage, it's just completely crumbles. Like, you're supposed to talk in those scenes. Like, that's actually part of the scene.
In the chat, well, yeah, it's kind of like if you want to see funny scenes, watch like deleted scenes from movies and television where they're in nightclubs and the lights are flickering and everyone's dancing and it's just you can hear a pin drop as characters walk through it. It's always really funny.
Their sneakers are like making squeak noises on the floor.
So he says, you could afford more than one TV. No, I cobbled together old TVs. Like one was mine.
Craigslist.
And then, like not like ones that I got for $20 that just were really old.
I saw this. There's this meme. This guy said like I stole this TV from the Burger King drive-thru
and it's just
I
the
can't
menu
get it to change to HDMI.
Yeah, it's just the menu. You can't turn it off. Yep.
No Control said, how long until we learn Blake defecated in an inappropriate location? So far, no allegations of Blake Lively pooping on anyone's bed.
She's got that going for her.
She's got that going for her. It is not nearly as scandalous and salacious as the Amber Heard stuff, but still interesting to me nonetheless. JTR11 said race swap for a black princess with a weave. That is literally what they were suggesting. They were saying that if they race swap Rapunzel, they should just give her a blonde wig. That was their solution.
Okay.
Not a good one. Shane H. Wilder said, I'm still trying to figure out Sabrina's brand deal with Dunkin'. You know, when you think sex appeal, you think Dunkin' Donuts.
Well, what would she do otherwise?
What is it?
Starbucks is too controversial these days.
It's the shake it espresso instead of the shaken espresso.
Makes perfect sense.
The Sabrina Carpenter.
You know that when that song became
Shake
big,
It
the
espresso.
coffee brands lined up to try and get her on board.
It's kind of late in the game, though, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
You would think she'd get the Dunkin' Donuts deal a few months prior.
I was honestly surprised that people were so taken aback by the Roku thing. You'd be much more aggrieved at how I will not do anything without a headphone in at least one ear. That's way more.
I mean, I think both are contemptible for the record.
That one is more of a crutch than the Roku. Maybe not.
You could give up the background noise for Lent.
That would be a good idea for me. It would definitely, that and learning to sit in silence and like sit with your thoughts would definitely benefit
But
me.
let's not get too ambitious here.
Yeah, not both.
Just pick one.
Yeah.
Lord Lucas Ward Gators Abba, I think, said, hey fam, please shout out my Give Send Go. The brutally cold Illinois weather cracked my engine block. Lucas Work Car is the name of my Give Send Go.
Okay, look it up, guys. It is brutally cold out. Like we're not in Colorado or in Chicago weather, but it's still cold out. It was single digits here. And as somebody who grew up in the weather that was always single digits or lower, I don't miss it on a regular basis. I don't. Like I'm not going to pretend like I miss it. I don't. I would love to find, like, unfortunately, the best weather would be to move to Southern California where the cost of living is sky high. And
I find it hard to believe that people would move somewhere just for the weather.
I mean, I get why they do.
I would refrain from moving somewhere just because of the weather.
Yeah.
That's why I would never move to Minnesota. But
Yeah.
to move to California because it's warm?
If I was to move home, something would either have to go really wrong or there would have to be a huge upside to going back to that weather. Because my dad spends, my dad, you know, they still have their place in Minnesota, but they have a place in Florida too. I just see my dad in the winter in Florida rather than going back to Minnesota.
Yeah, he's going to be, what are they called? Snowbirding?
Snowbirds, yeah.
Shane H. Wilder said, just saw on Trump's Twitter that it's his and Melania's 20th anniversary. Being back in the White House is one heck of an anniversary gift.
Yes, it is.
I wonder what they're doing.
What do you think? What do you
They
think
must
they
have
do
such
on
an
their
interesting relationship.
like? What do they do on their anniversary?
You know,
Like,
yeah,
I honestly think that there probably would be a gold mine for actual dialogue as far as their characters go. Like his personality and hers. Basically, she's the straight man to his. She is the reacher to his Neely.
But I suspect that both of them get along so well, like they click so well because they're both very unsentimental people.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what their wedding anniversary would look like. Day Koth said, hence why we have the mommy sorry meme.
Is there a specific one I'm thinking?
I feel
of?
like I recognize that from like Reels. Like that's like a viral sound, right?
Okay.
But yeah, the Zoomers are really into the whole mommy GF thing. It's kind of weird. It's more than kind of weird.
I think it's because they've just they've accepted that life is not going to be a cakewalk, and they don't even want to try.
They don't even
No,
want to try.
like,
They just want to be babied.
Yeah, they're like, look, all of this, like
Goo
back
goo gaga.
well, back in the day, you worked hard, and your end reward was a beautiful family and a house with a white picket fence and a job you stayed at for 40 years, and then got a retirement from.
Now you have
Now
to work
you
at
just-
Panda Express.
That is the new meme, right? It's like,
God forbid.
kind of want to go get a job at Panda Express just for the meme on the weekends. Just go work at Panda Express.
That would be hilarious. I would go
Yeah,
just to order Panda Express from you. That'd be a vibe.
I like Panda Express.
Value in You said, just wanted to share, very impressed with both of your guys' answer the other day on having hope for the future. Brett, have been thinking about your focus on the micro versus macro thoughts. Makes sense. Focusing on like things that are in your circle of influence and your sphere of things that you can care about.
Well, yeah, like I guess one of the not regrettable parts of this job is you kind of always have to be talking in the theoretical and the macro scale because it's part of having opinions that have to correlate with things outside of your direct sphere of influence. You'll notice that Mary is very good at talking about the macro and like theories and themes and these things of society. I tend to not be good at that because I'm not very smart, but I can draw things back to my own personal experience, which is just the way my brain works. And when I'm thinking about hope for the future, I'm not thinking about whether, we're even going to have a future to look back on or what it's going to be like in 20 years because of how society is going. All I can think about or focus on is how I can affect that through my own life. And that's scary in some ways because you have to think about, are you gonna, when you have kids, which we want kids, like what is that going to be like? What is the world going to look like when you do have kids in the future, boys versus girls and all of these things? I can only really focus on what I can provide for society or hopefully provide for society. And as for how society functions, I can have an opinion, but I don't think really many people pay much attention to my opinion anyways. So what does it matter?
How many people are watching right now?
I have no idea.
We have, it looks like 1,200 concurrent viewers right now.
They
That's a lot of people that are listening to your
though.
opinions every day.
But they care about your opinion, not mine. They disregard mine, and that's fine.
If you,
they're like,
if it makes you more comfortable to
they're
believe
like,
that.
you bring a Roku to a hotel room. You think I'm going to listen to a word you have to say?
Well, definitely don't listen to him when he says that. Omega Red fan said in TMNT movie, Raphael is standing next to a Critters movie poster.
There it is. It was Critters. Ugh.
Pat
Where
the
do they come up with
Plumber.
this stuff?
Oh my goodness, we have another offender. Pat the Plumber said, I bring my Roku as well. This is a thing?
It's like when they say, why buy new and slightly used will do? Why watch a regular television show when a streaming service is available?
It makes me feel cozy to watch network television, like just to watch Impractical Jokers in a hotel room with the commercial breaks for all of the different pharmaceuticals and cleaning
so I can
products.
be bombarded by ads for Swiffer.
It's nice. I like it.
I will say that there are times when I watch like Tubi or some of these other streaming services that are ads, and I do find it a bit fun. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. Shane H. Wilder said, you never think you'll fall into the real trap until you do. Brett, why have a travel Roku? If you have to stream, use the laptop and an HDMI or watch Impractical Jokers on True TV. The latter, yes.
I don't have a laptop to bring with me.
You don't have a laptop?
I have a work laptop that I leave at home that I don't travel with.
Oh. So you don't have a personal laptop. Okay.
Nope. I do everything from my phone. And also, you're saying, bring this expensive piece of computer equipment that could break or get lost or stolen, or bring a $20 plastic Roku that you could kick into the stratosphere and just buy another one.
Getting awfully defensive.
Yes,
here.
I am.
Corey Anderson said, is underwear off limits OTLR
I don't even know.
taboo?
Like, maybe I'm just brain dead today, but I don't get it.
I don't either. Corey Anderson, for future members only content, Mary and OC on a road trip, become best friends and are a bane to Brett for the rest of his life. Can't miss TV, LOL.
Probably. You guys, you could probably get along great, and then I'd just be like, I gotta get out of here. It's like a laugh track plays in the background.
So you would be in the back seat
yeah.
the whole time, like being like, are we there yet?
Exactly.
Dingus Khan.
And the best is like when you do that, you comically sit in the middle, not to the left or to the right.
Yeah.
You sit in the middle like this.
The
with your
least
hands
comfortable seat.
You sit in the middle with your hands in the middle like this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dingus Khan said, I stayed at a hotel in, is this Sioux Falls?
Sioux Falls, yep.
Last year, and their TVs were Roku TVs.
See, that sounds like a nice hotel.
That's getting annoying, though. When I go to a hotel that only has a streaming service, like streaming services on the TV, I don't want to have to like log into
the
things.
logging in.
Let
part
me just
does
turn
suck.
it on and look.
Another reason why you have the Roku, you just plug it in and you're already logged in.
Well, I don't even have streaming services.
Yeah.
I don't have a single one. Not even Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I tweeted about it yesterday. I was like, I'm kind of stuck with what I've got because I've got Hulu, which I need to have. There's just too many shows that I like to go through, flit through. Like, I guess that's more of a reading term, right? But I bounce around episodes on 10 shows on Hulu, not getting rid of Amazon Prime because I use it for the 2-day shipping.
Right.
And the other one I have is Paramount Plus, which we bought as a group and split the cost of for the year. So it's already paid for. Mm-hmm. But every so often I'm almost kind of want to get Peacock again. Don't do it, Brett. Don't do it. You don't need it. Just go put on some slop from Hulu and you'll be fine.
DCNC said, what's the too long didn't read version of the Blake and Justin thing? Who's the bad guy?
They're all
I don't think I want to say that one person is a good guy or a bad guy because we don't know who they are, really. It definitely seems like in this scenario, though, we were fed a much different account of events from Blake Lively's team, and she is fabricating.
I'm
Gordon
so glad
Shumway.
that there are people, somebody says, I know a few people that travel with a Fire Stick. Yes, my people.
What?
That's Amazon's version of a Roku Fire Stick.
Okay.
It's just like a flash drive.
Gordon Shumway said they should totally race swap Rapunzel with a weave, and then every 10 to 15 minutes, they should switch to a scene with a little girl with a bald head crying in a corner. That's how keep it real?
Rude.
That she stole the hair from a little girl who's bald now? I don't know if I really get the vision.
What if I was traveling with the Hallow app? Would then it be okay? I see somebody in the chat said Mary doesn't have the Hallow app. What if I was traveling with the Hallow app?
I do have the Hallow app, but I am not paying for it. I'm on the free version of it, and that's not a streaming service anyway. And it's on my phone.
Yeah.
The Manic Mustache said, random thought, hobos have bindle and ride the rails, winos stand around burning barrels, panhandlers stand on the side of the freeway with a sign, and the homeless have recreational flamethrowers.
And that guy in the Palisades? Is that what that's a reference to?
Wait, someone in the Palisades
wasn't there a guy with a
had
flamethrower?
A flamethrower?
I thought that was a thing. Maybe I'm misremembering that.
Hopefully that person is in jail now.
It is funny that mentioning hobos and he doesn't say vagrants. That was a joke in the first season of Reacher, where he's like, I'm gonna arrest you for vagrancy because I'm not a vagrant, I'm a hobo.
Shane H. Wilder said, dog, I literally just got back from a week in a Motel 6, not my choice, and no one touched my laptop. You'll be fine.
I mean, I'm not thinking about getting stolen. I'm thinking about me leaving it somewhere because I'm dumb. I'll forget it somewhere or I'll break it somehow.
Definitely, if you're flying, you can't trust them to not throw your suitcase everywhere.
Also, so you're saying that you use the streaming services on your laptop and you hook them up with the HDMI. I'm assuming you mean that, not stuff that you have downloaded on there. Why not bring the laptop so that you can use the laptop like a laptop, and then the cheap Roku, which only serves one purpose, to watch the stuff on the TV?
I wouldn't do either of these things. I have another question for you, Brett.
Well,
and
if we get a third crisis party, maybe I'll answer it.
Okay. But I've heard before that all men have this dream of being hobos. They all want to be hobos. Secretly somewhere inside you, you want to just let everything go and walk away from everything with a bindle and be a drifter. And just sleep on the streets or something.
I don't know about on the streets, but the life that Reacher lives in the show, where he literally he gets his pension check once a month that he cashes at a Western Union, and he doesn't have a car. He travels by Greyhound. He doesn't have a cell phone. Every guy deep down has that innate desire to just explore the world with with nothing encumbering them at all. Yes.
Forever or
no,
just for a little while?
To do it, right?
Just to say that you did it.
When people would talk about all men think about the Roman Empire, that never made sense to me.
All men think about becoming hobos.
At least to travel with nothing tying you down. But the thing is, it's a romanticized version of extreme self-reliance that belies most of society today.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be unbelievably competent at
now
existence without
that kind
modern...
of has turned into millennial work from home van life. Where you make Instagram videos about how this is your dream life. You work from your laptop in a van, and you don't have any bills.
Yeah. But the thing is then you watch any of those videos, and you understand, like, a lot of them make a lot of content now that talk about, like, this is not easy. You know, it is not easy to spend every night not knowing where you're going to be able to park your car and sleep through the night. You take for granted the luxuries that you have to just go home and not be bothered.
Right.
Like, it is one of
I
those
would never want to do that, personally. Seems awful. Shane H. Wilder said, or you could use the laptop for both.
So what? You have like a 30-foot long HDMI cable going? I'm so confused right now.
I'm confused by your insistence on needing entertainment at all times.
That's a fair critique.
That's what I'm confused
That
about.
is a fair critique. I will not pretend like that is not, it probably does say something about me that I want to be able to control what I'm watching and not be willing to just acquiesce to whatever is playing on stars on television. Yeah.
So I guess all the men in the chat are confirming.
Yeah.
They all want to be hobos.
Yeah, at least a little bit.
I will never understand it.
Never wanted to ride the rails, though. Never wanted to ride, and have to jump off a train while it's still moving. Yeah. One more there.
The rumbling. Brett defending Roku is the same as Phil defending Apple. I want it to do that one thing. Why are you hassling me? LOL.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I'm right about this. I don't care what anybody says. You know, when you know you're right, you stand up tall and you say, and they tell you to move. You say, no, you move.
Good for you, Brett.
Yeah. Guys. One more there from Shane H. Wilder. Maybe we'll get this third crisis party yet.
Hobo is short for homeward bound, so you eventually have to stop being a hobo.
Okay.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay.
I never knew that.
Well, it's like, remember when Mike Posner just walked across America?
Oh, yeah.
That was a thing.
Well, he also went on Warped Tour, which is even worse.
Yeah.
High Voltage 75.
Late stage Warped Tour.
Yeah. Not gonna lie, that does sound appealing to me, Mary.
He's, of course, talking about bringing a Roku to your hotel room, not being a hobo.
This is defamatory. DCNC said, when's the Roku tattoo coming?
Any day now.
Are you going to get one of the mouth tattoos where you get Roku on the inside of your lip?
The better question is, when is the Roku sponsorship coming for this channel?
Very true.
Roku, reach out to us.
What are you waiting for?
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, I think we're all caught up now.
We should get to the third crisis party. I think we should wait till
I think we will.
Yeah.
If we do the NPR outro.
Feel free to dunk on me for my choice in entertainment.
We can do the archetypes outro.
Oh, is that what it is? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining such a genuine program today, where we strive to bring you nothing but the most authentic content straight to your living rooms. Before we go, guys, hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. If you do believe that bringing a Roku with you on your road trips is a completely reasonable thing to do, leave us a super chat. If you think it's a completely unreasonable thing to do, also leave us a super chat.
Okay, you guys can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
All right, guys, if you would like to follow me, I am on Instagram and on Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. The show is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you would prefer to listen rather than watch the show, or you could see it on a Roku if you have YouTube TV. You could watch us there. If you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook at popculturecrisis, Instagram at popculturecrisisPod. Mary, there's a couple more there as we inch closer to the third crisis party.
Stefan Buttle said crisis party, but like cry sis party. I don't want to cry on camera. I don't want to do that. The Manic Mustache said trains are the only reason for the hobo life.
Okay.
And High Voltage 75 said, I'm working out here in 18 degrees and wish I could just walk away.
Bro, I don't blame you. I do not blame you.
Oh, I thought you meant you were working outside in 18-degree weather.
No, he means like he's got a job outside.
Okay. Because that would have been totally your choice.
Yep.
Shane H. Wilder said, love you guys, no hobo. LMAO.
That was good.
Pat the Plumber said, Brett, let's get matching road coup tattoos.
They should have their own. It's like the same thing as any of the other ones.
The travel case?
It's just the travel, and it's literally in a travel case too. And it's just called a road coup.
Get a free travel case with your 5th Roku system.
We could do that. And again, I will now that
economical.
So before the Roku that we traveled with, so we have a Roku out in the living room in our apartment, and I would just take that one with us. Now that one gets to stay put because we have the dedicated travel Roku because I had to buy it when we were over the holidays.
This is ridiculous.
Okay,
We have
one more
another
super
from
chat.
DC&C. Take 6 months to do something different is great, especially if you're without responsibilities, but any longer than that and it gets too comfortable.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, guys. We have the 3rd crisis party. Thank you so much for that, ladies and gentlemen.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're
All right.
eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat.
We will be back, guys, with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.